Live from their living rooms, it's The Director's Chair with Stanton Welch.
Hi, I'm Stanton Welch, and we're here with another vlog, and today we have Karina González. Hello, Karina, how are you?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing great, thank you.
What have you been up to in this lockdown?
Well, let's see. My 2-year-old kept me very busy, so I've been playing with her. I really enjoying the time with her. We spend so many hours in the studio that this time has been a blessing for me and my family. So I've been having a great time. Of course, missing I think my hours of rehearsals for sure. I have planned few classes during the morning. I have a few weeks doing class with my brother in Oklahoma City Ballet, and some dancers have joined too. So that has been a little, inspiration to keep going and stay in shape. My husband, I'm sure people have seen, then made a little space in the garage for us to kind of stay in shape. He also have joined the class, so that has been fun. He's been retired for almost 5 years, but he's back in class. So that has been good. And yeah, I think just kind of doing my class in the morning and relaxing in the afternoon with the little girl. I also I'm taking college classes. So I have now time to really sit down and do homework and really focus on that. So that has been my almost 6 weeks, right? I think we're going for...
No, is it 4, isn't it?
No, it's been forever. It feels forever.
I'm not sure. I think... Really? Is it 6 weeks?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think we're 5th. I don't know, but it feels forever.
It does feel forever. It feels like 5 years, actually. So just for our audience, could you tell them where you're from and what was the very first moment you remember deciding, oh, I love to dance, or I want to be a dancer?
So I'm from Caracas, Venezuela, and I joined ballet, the dance school when I was 7 years old. And it was by actually a mistake. People say that your story is written somewhere. I believe that. So asking in the street, my mom was looking for a folk dance company. So it was Venezuelan folk dance. And somebody actually sent her to the ballet school. I was 7 years old, and during that time they were doing auditions. So my mom was like, okay, we're here, why not try? And I actually got in the school. And I was so passionate from the beginning. I loved the time in the studio, the exercise. I remember starting with 1 day a week, and I wanted more every time, and then two days a week. And from the beginning, I loved it. I also have, my mom has been also a person that encouraged to, if you start something, you also finish it. And so I think at the beginning, I loved the exercise and to be active. Then I loved being with the friends in the studio. I remember like doing a little competitions with them, like who can do more abs or who can do more jumps. And so I guess I've been always very competitive, I guess, in that sense. And then I think when I saw the main company, by then was Ballet Nacional de Caracas, and I was part of some of their production as a little girl, I knew that I wanted to be there with them. And so I have a few opportunities to dance with the company while being in the school. And I knew right away that I wanted to keep going and get that job in the company for sure.
And what was the top level of the school like there? Was it like our HB2 program? Was similar idea or was it very different?
Well, no, I don't think we didn't have like a pre-professional company like the HB2s. I think at 16 you were ready to join the company right away. But I have few opportunities to dance with the company while I was in the school. So I did, for example, like snowflakes during the Nutcracker. So I think that kind of give you experience to dance with the company a little bit. My teacher then, Sam Wilson, who I adore, he he gave me the opportunity to be Clara in the main company while I was in the school. So that was a big deal. And yeah, I think you kind of, during that time, I think you kind of just jump in the company and go for it. And I think they can see if you can take it or not.
Did you join the company there, or did you?
Yes. So I graduated when I was 16 from the school, and I joined the company right away for almost 2 years. I wasn't done with my high school yet. At 16, I told my mom I have a contract and I want to take it. That was hard because my mom wanted me to finish high school for sure. And we don't have that online program that you have here in the States. But she knew that that was important for me. So she helped me I take the contract. So I danced during the week and I took high school classes during the weekends. There were some places that you can finish your high school, degree or something during the Saturdays. So I did that for almost a year and a half. So I finished my high school and then joined the company for 2 years.
Could you talk a little bit as a dancer? I think for young dancers, it's an interesting transition from school into company. You go from being the best in the school and being everyone's all over you, and then you join a company and you're one of 24 swans, or you're one of, even a bigger cast sometimes. Could you explain how do you stay motivated? How would you help a young dancer?
Yeah, I would say that that's one of the hardest transitions for a young dancer. As you say, in a school, you have all eyes on you. The group is small, so the teacher's on you all the time, giving you corrections, and then you think that that's going to happen when you join the company. But as a professional, you work for yourself. Yeah, you have the teachers there to give you a class, to give you choreography, to teach you the counts. But now it's your responsibility to have your own work ethic and kind of grow from there. I will say then trusting yourself will be the main advice. I think I have a hard time, especially actually coming to Houston. I was in a position, I was principal in Tulsa, and I have my position. I was so secure. I was confident of who I was. And then I came to Houston, a bigger company, 60 dancers. I couldn't find a place in the studio. I would look around. I compare myself so much, which I think that's a huge mistake that we can do, because I wanted to be like everybody else. Like I remember seeing this tall dancer and I was like, I'm not like her, or this skinny, or this white lady, or doing many pirouettes. So and I think it's just being confident enough that you're there and you have something special. We're all so unique than you are there for a reason. So I think it also is getting inspired by the dancers. You maybe are in the back during class, but you have all these beautiful dancers in front of you that you can learn from and get inspired by them.
Yeah. So do you remember what was the role early on in your career where you suddenly thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe I've got the chance to do this, or I'm opening night, or whatever it may be, a solo suddenly? Was there one moment where you think back and think, wow, that was something triggered me?
I let me think. I have, I think, few. Of course, my first lead role was Sleeping Beauty. I was 19 years old when I did Aurora, and that was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that they were giving me a chance to. Also, was that in my home country we didn't really do as many classicals, so I wasn't familiar with the production of the variations. So many schools already come, with you have done all those variations in school during school time, but I didn't have that. So my process was from zero to being the lead dancer in the production. So for me, that one was that was my huge step up. But I also felt like if they saw that on me, they trust me enough to do that. I knew that, I had something to share. I think the other moment was here at Houston Ballet when I don't think it was my night. I think it was an injury from somebody and I needed to do La Balla there on opening night. And that was my promotion as a principal dancer here in Houston Ballet. So
Right.
I also felt that day was like, okay, I made it, but in my mind it was always like, okay, I made it, but now from here now you have to keep working, and I feel like you have the responsibility now for people to see you and to be an example for the dancers and for the academy.
Sure. Okay, so I'm just checking my notes. I have them on my wall here, stuck on the wall. It's my office wall. So that was sort of similar as my next question. I was going to ask you, was there a time where you were thrown on in a role, or you had very little preparation, or even if it was in a quarter ballet role and you flipped to the other side, and you remember that adrenaline and that fear, and you go on stage and suddenly you're dancing something and your brain is, but there's a thrill to that.
Yeah. Let's see. I just remember clearly, like it was yesterday, when I was still in the ballet school and they threw me to do a snowflakes in the Nutcracker with the main company. And I remember everybody was in costume already ready. I think it was like a dress rehearsal, but I didn't have my costume yet because I wasn't going to do it. And I remember everybody in costume, and I have my blue leotard, my rib, we have a bond with my rib, and everybody, of course, was like this little girl. It was obvious that I was there on stage, but I just remember finishing it and I loved it. I remember going home and I was like, Mom, everybody was looking at me. But I feel like I still feel that, my heart race because the excitement in that moment. And I think anytime that, we plan so much. Like I know my routine. So if I have a show tomorrow, I try to have my routine today. I know I need to rest for my show tomorrow. And when they surprise you with performances like that, it's just scary. But at the same time, it teaches you then sometimes we get so stuck in our routine and then you throw it on stage without being prepared. And the performance sometimes is even better. Yeah, exactly. I think I have a couple of those during Nutcracker, like for Sugar Plum. There were some days then you're like, okay, you're on today. And you prepare so much, like you don't have the right punches. So you don't have to say, you didn't rest enough, but it goes well. And then you do your show and sometimes you enjoy it even more.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about a role created on you, like Sylvia, for example. We're currently playing that on Houston Ballet Brunch, but could you talk a little bit about her as a character and how much of you ends up in the ballet? Do you feel like it becomes something that you feel very connected to as a person?
I think it's one of the best times for a dancer is when you have a role created on you. Sylvia was special just because I didn't really know anything about her. It's not a ballet that many companies do often. I have seen maybe few clips of like her variation is a famous part of it, but I didn't really know, who was she, and especially because it was a story created that you created. So I didn't even know how we were going to start it. So I will say that it is so important that the choreographer knows you so well. I feel from the first day, our strengths. And so you help us so much to, with your ideas, but also you give us the freedom to develop the character as you own. Sylvia, I think, was interesting. Especially at first, I would never forget the first rehearsal, the first pas de deux. I'm expecting this strong and serious and powerful, and then you start with the first
Funny
pattern,
one.
and it was a funny, which I love that pattern. But yeah, it was so interesting because I was like, where is this story going? And but one of the wonderful things that you do is that you give us, I love the book, then you prepare for us, then we can read and study the character that you're creating. And I think that helps a lot. I also feel like, yeah, you give us the freedom to help create it, especially during the patatas. I think that's one of my favorite moments, just because you have this idea and then somehow it happens, and maybe it wasn't what you were thinking, but somehow it just happens, and the creation kind of goes very fluid and in the studio.
I mean, she has 5 pas de deux. I think maybe even 6 pas de deux. It's a lot of material.
Yeah, well, it's a full length. I think that's one of the wonderful things of, especially full length ballets, is you start from her story, just keeps developing, and somehow you have almost 3 hours of ballet. Then you need to tell the story through the dance.
And I think it's interesting that for you, the character ends up being a parent and ends up going through her entire life, and that's interesting in ballet to encompass all of it.
Yeah, I actually love that moment when I remember reading the book about it, the book that you gave us. I was like, how he's gonna even explain that? How can you transform in a minute, explain how you get old and have babies and babies, and but yeah, I think that's I actually love that. Even just Sylvia, I think like any story ballets, then you have to develop your character, and so most of the time it's like you start being a child, or relaxed and funny, and then you go through this whole drama until you finish the ballet.
Well, speaking of that, is there a moment in a role or a ballet where you felt like you completely lost yourself into the character, where you were sobbing or you were nose running and all that fun stuff, and you suddenly, and you have to, after the dancing, you have to calm yourself back down because you've been so emotional through it?
Well, I would say that I've been waiting for Marie for the last 10 years, and I have seen many dancers portraying the role, and how the room just becomes so quiet watching the dancer portray her story, and I remember being attached and very passionate watching, but I didn't know that I could get to that point of then I remember finishing the ballet and I just wanted to cry, like and yeah, I think I actually thank you for giving me the chance. And this moment, like I feel like if it was a few years ago, it would have been different. But I think now, being a mom and losing somebody, and you can bring so many of your emotions to the role. And I think Marie lets you do that. And even thinking about it, I feel like I'm.
I definitely, I get emotional just talking about it. And she had also lots of story arc from young to old. But then even Juliette, I mean, Juliette is only like a week of her life, or maybe even a few days of her life. And she experiences this huge arc. I mean, you come on for Act 3 and it's just you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's when they asked me which one is my favorite role, I would say then Juliette, just because doesn't matter how many times you have done it, you can find so how much she goes through her experience, and like you're saying, in a short time. I don't think so many other ballets goes through many years, but her story is just few days, and the decisions she has to make, and
yeah.
And I think what I love the most is like the relationship that you create with your partners, especially with these kind of stories and romantic ballets. Then you create and even outside the studio, I feel like you have the passion and that trust with your partner to create the magic, especially in those ballets.
And in Juliette, the partnerships also with your mother and your father and the nurse. I mean, there's a unit of people that you have reactions with.
Exactly. Yeah, especially that last scene, then and your family is telling you to do what they want you to do, and you know you are gonna betray them. You know that's not what you're gonna do, and then you have to take the decision to get away and do what you want to do. I think doesn't matter, like I say, how many times you do it. I feel like you grow in the role many times, and I was so looking forward to do it now.
It'll be be back. So just one other question as a dancer. I've been trying to talk with everybody about describing what that relationship with the live audience is when we get into the theatre and you feel them go quiet, like you talked about, or you hear them giggle or laugh or clap at the end. Could you explain, as an artist or a dancer, what does that mean to you, and is there a way to describe that?
I mean, I think I would say that I personally have done, I feel like I have done gorgeous runs in the studio. Then I feel confidence and I'm prepared, I'm ready to go on stage. And the moment the curtain goes up and you know that you have thousands of people watching you, I think anything can happen. And I think that's what is lovely about a live show. Doesn't matter how much you prepare, is when you have the audience in there. And I think one of the most amazing things is when the curtain goes up, you can feel the air, the cold air from the audience, and you know that that's it. You're just gonna go on and do your thing, and you hope that they enjoy as much as you do.
Yeah.
I actually there are theaters that you can see the audience, and I actually love that. I personally love to see faces and you can hear the reactions. Especially, I always feel like opening night, there is so much excitement and from the dancers, and I even feel from the audience too, how they react, and when they clap, you know that they're there with you. Or sometimes there are shows and they're very quiet, and sometimes you go out, out to the wind, and you're like, okay, what happened, so yeah, I think this is what we do, and we dance for that audience, and we rehearse so many hours, and we spend our almost whole life in the studio for those performances, and we dance for them. Yeah. And at the end, the bows, and I always feel like that's our I wish I can actually say with words like thank you for being here and enjoy the performances with us.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for the chat today. It's nice to see you. Yeah, and I'll see you in our next Zoom meeting.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.